Your favourite to start, Mikel, the team news, quite a list, so should we go through bit by bit? Any update on Rice, first of all?
Yes, he hasn't trained yet. Obviously, he could not carry on in the game. He wasn't comfortable at all, but hopefully it's not something big.
Yeah, I mean, how confident are you it's not big? He scanned yesterday, there's nothing that jumps out.
We are confident. Obviously, he's still uncomfortable. Obviously, he had to leave the pitch, and that's never a good sign for a player like him. But hopefully, we'll progress in the next few days. But it's still doubtful.
Yeah, Trossard?
Yeah, won't be available yet.
For tomorrow, what about the weekends?
Let's see day by day how he improves and whether he's got a chance or not.
Yeah, you said it was training last week. What did you just?
Well, he did some activity, and that's where he felt it, and he wasn't comfortable to carry on the session with the day before the game, and he hasn't trained yet, so not available for tomorrow.
Okay, Martinelli, because not tomorrow.
No.
And you said that there was a chance he might have made the weekend, but when
let's see. For tomorrow it's too short, so let's see, and we still have days for the weekend, but those players won't be available.
And any update on Party?
Still not available either.
Any sort of timescale on it? I know this is your favourite conversation.
Well, it's a long list, as you said. Still not the same with Duran. Obviously, you know that one, and it's the situation that we have at the moment that we have to adapt. The squad that we have at the moment is really short, and we need players back. That's for sure.
Yeah, you've no doubt had a bit of time to reflect on the weekends. Occasions when I guess mistakes cost you, maybe not for the first time from a winning position at home.
Yeah.
How do you go about addressing those? How do you sort of, make sure they don't happen again?
Yeah.
You don't want to pinpoint people, but
No.
I guess
It's mistakes and errors are part of football. It's inevitable and it happens, and sometimes you have to be lucky when you made it that the opponent doesn't punish you. It wasn't the case. Obviously, when the ball lands to Maddison and you have some in front of the ball, it cannot get any worse than that, and they prove the quality that they have to finish those actions off. It's a shame because that was the moment, I think, the turning point in the game. To be on top of it, and it was probably the best moment that we had in the game, but we have to accept that as well, that when it happens, there are other factors as well that contributed, and move on.
Yeah. Maybe also left a few goals out there. I know that last season you were able to score, everyone weighed in, didn't they? Because you can't always rely on that. How much do you need your strikers to start kind of coming up with some big numbers in terms of goals scored, like Jesus and Nketiah?
Yeah, that was it. They had a huge chance as well, 1-against-1 before, with the 1-0. Then Gavi had another one. But again, those are defining moments in big matches. You have to be there, and in the boxes you have to make the difference. And we talked about it after PSV that we were exceptional, and 3 days later we lacked that as well to win the game. But this is football.
Why do you think that is?
Because it's the hardest thing in football to put the ball in the net in the right moment with the right time, and it changes, and every striker misses chances. You see it all across the league. It's the efficiency that we have, and the weekend we didn't have the efficiency needed because the game would have changed in a really positive way for us.
I'm sure you're delighted that you can call on David Raya for the weekends, for tomorrow night, because it's unusual, isn't it, that you can play against his club. Is that make it easier or harder to make a decision about who starts?
No, we all trained today. The lineup, I could not make it because there's still some players that are still doubtful as well for tomorrow. So I would decide tomorrow was the best team to put out there.
But in a way, the decision's made for you. The decision's sort of made for you, and now you're going to go through all this kind of, who starts when. I've got this game coming up. Then we've got City. So how much tougher is it?
Yeah, but at the end we have to go game by game. The importance is performing and winning the next game, because that's going to help you to win the next one, and we just focus on that.
And just very finally, SAKA's start celebration. Obviously Maddison enjoyed it. Did you enjoy it? And how do you feel about players and maybe just inciting their opponents?
I don't pay too much attention to that. They are free. When they do it for a reason, and probably I'm the last one to understand what's the reason behind it, because they just talked about it in the dressing room between them. So they are free to do whatever they want if always is respectful for the opponent, you know, and what we're doing is not putting someone down or doing something that it doesn't go with our values.
George from BBC.
Thanks, Dan. Mikel, sorry, just one more player. How's Saka? Because he come off. Has he got an injury as well, or is he okay?
Yeah, he was limping quite badly after the match. As you know, you have to get him off the field, which is never a good sign as well, and he hasn't been able to participate in the session.
So do you think he could be out of Saturday against Bournemouth potentially?
But it's a possibility, yes.
Just you always identify your new signings quite in advance. I just wondered, with the lack of goals, do you think you're looking at possibly bringing in a new striker in January?
We're not thinking at all about that. We have really good players up front. It's true that now we have some injuries, and we'll continue with the players that we have, that's for sure.
When you look at the stats, it looks like Gabriel Jesus is underperforming a little bit in terms of his goals, but I don't know, do you look into how he's performing for you? Are you quite happy because he causes chaos in other areas of the pitch?
Well, he had a big impact in many areas on the pitch on the weekend, and he was really helpful in many moments when we became really dominant through our high press. The moments that he produced, it's true that in the final set we need to produce more. We have to be more ruthless there, and we all know that, and we have to help the players to improve that.
Just one on Gabriel. I just wondered how you thought he'd done since he's come back into the team.
Gabriel, yes. Yeah, I think he was very good. I think the weekend he had a really good game, and he continues to perform the way he did last year.
Okay.
Mikel, with the number of injuries, can you link that to the Champions League, do you think? Because obviously last year, Europa League, you could rotate and everything. This year, you've got to play your strongest team. Is that something the players have got to adapt to, do you think, of playing twice a week?
Yeah, but we only had one Champions League game, you know, and it's still early. It's true that they play with the national teams. It comes from a season that they had a World Cup. Some players play 60-odd games, you know, it's a lot of things. But as well, we've been unlucky with the injury of Jurgen, for example. It's for other reasons. Bukayo was because they stepped in. There are some traumatic injuries, some other that are more muscular, that we try to find the right reasons to try to avoid them, but they are part of football.
On a similar note, tomorrow night, Carabao Cup, given that in the Europa League you did rotate, does tomorrow present that chance for the players that might be on the fringe of the first team to show you what they can do?
Well, there are a lot of players that they need minutes, that's for sure. And you can go through the squad. Some players haven't played that many minutes, and tomorrow they're going to have exposure for sure.
Will that include some of the young players involved, maybe?
It can include, yes.
Jordan, Athletic.
Mikel, just to come back to the fixture schedule, Pep was recorded earlier today saying that he just can't take any risks with some of the national team players. Are you in a similar position where you spoke a few weeks ago about the fixture schedule and it being dangerous for the players? Do you view this differently? Because it's obviously a competition the club's not won in a while.
Yeah. Well, it's true that we had a lot of internationals in the last few windows, and they had quite a lot of exposure to minutes. But at the moment, we have a squad that is not 24 players, you know, to change 11, 12 players tomorrow. It's just not a possibility that we have in the squad.
And just come back onto the idea of a penalty box striker. I know you said you're not thinking of bringing in another striker in January, but, you know, why do you think that they've become a bit rarer, the traditional number 9? Why do you think that's become rarer in modern football?
Well, I think it's coming back, no? There are a few players, and when you look at Harry Kane, when you look at Haaland, you look at Holland, you look at even Tony, you have a lot of examples. Mitrovic, you have a lot of examples. Players have scored a lot of goals. We have scored a lot of goals. Last year, I think we scored more goals than any other season for Arsenal. So it's various ways to score goals, and we are scoring goals, but we should have scored many more for what we create, that's for sure.
You mentioned Ivan Toney there. How important was he to Brentford in the way they play? I just wondered, if you're looking at the 20 Premier League teams, where does he rank in terms of one player's importance to a certain team?
I don't know, you have many examples. You look at Everton as well, the type of strikers that they have, and it's related to the style as well and how much they contribute to that. So I think they have a really strong squad. They've been doing terrifically well in the last few seasons. Credit to Frank and the coaching staff, because what they've done, it's incredible.
Thanks, Graeme.
Hi, Mikel. We're talking a lot about taking chances, but over the weekend after the Spurs game, there was some stats in around about chance creation and Arsenal maybe not being as high when it comes to that stat as other teams in the Premier League. Is that maybe too simplistic an analysis, or are you concerned about the lack of chances that your side seems to be creating?
Is that depending how you analyze that and why you take that? Do you take only the last pass or the last two passes there in the zones, because the positions that we get in and against the blocks that we defend, the position that we put our wingers in, a lot of time is higher than anybody else in the league. But to produce the moment that replicates the stat, yeah, it is too simplistic.
And the way there's a lot of talk around, which seems to be maybe also haven't quite hit top form yet, or there's still more to come. Even though we're talking in a position where Arsenal haven't lost any games this season and quite easily could have won all their games, does that annoy you maybe, that you feel maybe the team aren't getting enough credit, or do you still think there's more to come, and if so, what's still to come?
I think it's the expectations that that we created as well, and it's the culture that we created, that you want to win every single match. So yeah, we have won 6 matches, draw 2, won a title, and it's not enough, you know. And we have 6 players injured, top players injured. Is what it is. We want to get better, that's for sure.
What do you think we can still see, what's still to come from your team this season? What is going to improve?
Yes, for sure we want to be better, but on Wednesday night we were incredible. It was a joy to watch. We were incredible, and then 3 days later you draw a match in the conditions that we draw, and you have to improve. But certainly it's about the consistency and hitting the level that we want every day, and we have to improve, that's for sure. We want to be better.